Welcome back to Houston Life. Before you head out to the airport this summer, did you double check you have everything? Your ID, wallet, phone,
I
keys,
literally
Patrick.
almost left without my wallet yesterday.
Oh, dear.
With more than 200,000 subscribers, our next guest is the wife of a pilot and has traveled for 20 years with only a carry-on.
Right.
This is Lori from Travel Tips by Lori, and she's going to help us learn how to pack like a pro.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lori. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to help you get through airport security with no mistakes.
Well, and the carry-on thing, I'm so glad that we set that up because with flight delays and with connections, things go all wrong when you check your bag. But some people might say, but I have so much stuff. How can I just take carry-ons, Lori?
Exactly. There's some easy tips and tricks that I have for you. One tip is to go through security with slip-on, slip-off shoes, or a travel hack. Loosen your laces before you leave home and make it a slip-on shoe so that you are not stressed because you stressed less by preparing at home.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. And if you're 75 or older, you do not have to take off shoes, or 12 and under, you do not have to take off shoes.
I think you can pass for 12 there.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Thank you. And these are good tips because we've all been there when you're trying to take your shoes off. It's hot, you're sweating, there's a long line behind you. You don't want to be that person also who's holding up the line. That just adds more stress.
Well, and sometimes there's not even like a bench until you're like really far away. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Yes, and even in pre-check, you cannot now have Kleenexes in your pocket, anything in your pocket, and for the last 6 months, you cannot wear a belt through pre-check even. Wow. So there are lots of things that we can do before we head to the airport. And one thing is to know that your liquid containers need to follow the 3-1 rule. And that is they need to be 3.4 ounces
or
less. Like even if it's this beautiful expensive bottle and you only have 1 ounce of fluid in there, you cannot take the container. The container has to be 3.4 ounces, and if you grew up in the 80s or 70s, that's 100 milliliters. Instead of taking like a big balm of makeup remover, decant it into a small container if you know it will not leak. Here's an example of 4 ounces, so it's a very small amount, but you might want to buy like the travel size container of shampoo because it's easier, but you won't need that for a 4-day trip, so put it in a smaller container.
What is that, like a little silicone something you have?
Yes, and they're squishy, and that's my Gold Bond for diabetics that never budges, even if my bag gets checked last minute.
And you have this clear bag. Some people just use like a quart Ziploc, a disposable or recyclable bag, but you use this, which is a more permanent thing. There's a ton in there.
Yeah, if it says TSA approved, it's approved domestically.
You know what I'll do is use a contact case,
yes.
And I put my hair product in a contact case and carry it that way.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hacks
No
by
leakage.
Patrick. I love it.
We don't need any leaks.
Okay, what do you have here? Because this is an interesting
So this is a packing cube that you would put, and my travel hack that made me go viral on Instagram somehow is that you put like a shirt, 2 pairs of undies in there, and it uses 2 zippers to compress the air between your clothes, and you're just going to pack that extra set of clothing in case your bag gets checked and then lost, or if the airline leaves you stranded. You have this little book shape in the bottom of your backpack or tote bag in the airplane with you. If your suitcase gets
so much smaller. That's impressive.
We've got to be prepared for delays now. Airlines are using all of the airplanes that they have, and there are lots of crowds, so if an airplane breaks, there's not one in the wings waiting to be the substitute.
In the wings. I see what you did there. By the way, this is called Tripped, in case you're wondering.
Yes.
Tripped travel gear, but I'm sure there are other brands
On
as
Amazon, they're my favorite. They are Travelers.
And you're the wife of a pilot. How much does he take advantage of all these tips and tricks too? Because they have to travel a little late.
Yes, he now knows, oh my gosh, I know how to pack in only a backpack. That's his new thing when we go on vacation.
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Okay.
And then packing the snacks.
Yes.
Snacks are great.
I was just going to say.
Because delays are rampant
They
these days.
are. I've gotten away from that, and I learned when all 4 of my flights were delayed last week and no meal, we did not have any food for 10 hours. So I should have packed snacks.
And a lot of times the delays are during hours at the airport. Everything's already closing down.
Yes. Or everybody's stuck at the airport, so they're in line, and you have 30 people in line. Order ahead at the Starbucks at George Bush Intercontinental on your app, or At the really busy one in George Bush Intercontinental, look 3 gates down at C31, and that Starbucks hardly ever has anyone in it. It's your
Until
airport
now.
hack for today for free.
C31, and I just want to stress this because this is mind-blowing information. You can pre-order your coffee
Yes.
at many airport Starbucks.
Yes, across America.
I had no idea. It saves so much time.
Happy
Bless
4th
the
of July.
USA. Okay, how to prepare if your luggage is lost. This brings us to this side of our table.
Yes, pack in a carry-on, pack in your compression cubes. You may not want to take your entire medicine packing case. Just take enough pills for that trip. The TSA does not care about dry pills. You can pack them anywhere. They do not need to see them. And dress in layers. I wouldn't take a little travel blanket because you can easily pack a cashmere sweater or hoodie, whatever's easier for your style.
I have a little travel pillow now that I just hook on the top of my backpack and like use that rather than trying to stuff it in.
Yes.
It was game changing because I was always trying to stuff it in the backpack, and
Yes.
I was just like, oh, I could just clip it on the top. Now I know they say arrive at least 2 hours ahead of time. Do you feel like that is 100% necessary?
If you arrive on time, you're late. So my husband always says 2 hours before boarding time, which is 30 minutes to 40 minutes last week for domestic flights before departure time.
See, I like pretending I'm on The Amazing Race and just sprinting. No,
No.
I don't mind doing that. My husband, it gives him like an aneurysm.
Totally. I'm one of those, I walk in 10 minutes before the flight, trying to get on the plane. Before we let you go, Lori, so at the top, we were mentioning that checking bags really is sort of a recipe to longer delays, right? And I was
Yes.
one of those people during the holidays. I didn't have my luggage for 10 days because it was the Christmas debacle with Southwest. It's very painful. I don't like
Yes.
to talk about it. But in general, though, your one rule of thumb, if you could tell anyone your one piece of advice, always carry on. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. You're just safer and you're less stressed because you've stressed less. You can wear a whole lot less than you think you need.
Oh, okay. Well, and you know what? It is true. Every trip I get home from, I'm like, wait, I didn't wear that. I didn't wear that. I didn't wear that. You can rewear on vacation.
Yes. Take pictures.
There you
All
go.
right. Lori, it's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by Houston
nice
Life.
to meet you. Glad to be on again.
I'll be packed even better for my flight back to LA.
Yes. Safe travels and pack light, everybody. For more tips and hacks, we have shared a link on our website, HoustonLife.tv, or as always, you can catch this segment again later on our KPRC2 Plus app. Thanks again.